Hello and welcome. I'm Austin Kovalarczyk, composer and arranger. Welcome to the first episode of Book Review. Hopefully a placeholder title until I can think of something smarter. But as someone who primarily reads to learn about his craft, I figured I'd do my best to put out there a resource for other composers, arrangers, and honestly just anyone who's interested in reading about music to find helpful and interesting books. So I figured I'd start out with a classic in the music industry, arranged by Nelson Riddle. As the tagline says, the definitive study of arranging by America's #1 composer, arranger, and conductor. So the author, Nelson Riddle. I've got a small backstory for him, if you're unfamiliar with a man who is, top of his industry. He was born in Oradell, New Jersey, as an only child. Started on piano at age 8, picked up trombone at 14. He's primarily known for his work with a lot of famous vocalists, such as Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, Rosemary Clooney, etc., etc. He had a career that lasted almost 40 years, stretching from the late 1940s to the mid-1980s. And as it says on the book, he was top of his craft. The book itself is arranged into 14 main sections, detailing everything from preparation for score paper to how to put your ideas down on paper, all the way to writing for film. It sets up a lot of the basics of Western music orchestration with the woodwind family, the brass family, keyboards, strings, voices, the rhythm section. He's got a wonderful section, the last section of the book actually, about personal and musical observations, which are just some things he's picked up over his long career, which I found personally fascinating and super helpful. And I love taking a look through it whenever I'm feeling down or I need inspiration. There's a more complete biography in there than the quick one I gave you, if you're interested in learning about him personally. There's some acknowledgments. There's even space at the very back to write down notes, if that's your kind of thing. Just blank pages that are titled notes. A couple of those. Right towards the end, I'd say like an appendix almost, is a full orchestration of the Stefan Sondheim song, Send in the Clowns, just to demonstrate a lot of the techniques he talks about in the book, which is super helpful to dissect if you take the time to go through it. And if you're not a coward like me and you can write in books, it's probably even more helpful. But yeah, this book is a treasure trove of super helpful information from someone who is obviously a master of his craft. And it's readily available. There's Amazon sells it. You can buy it on Alfred Music, and I'm sure there's a variety of used book websites that just have copies of this thing lying around. And the most important part is it's affordable. This treasure trove knowledge, 200 pages almost, of just years of industry work and trial and error, is stupid affordable. I think Amazon sells this for $26. Alfred's a bit more expensive. I think they are the main publisher, though, so I don't know why they are more expensive. But in the music world, as a small thing I've come to notice is a lot of books are expensive. You can pay $70, $80 for a book and not blink an eye at it, and it'll have half this straightforward practical knowledge that this thing gives you for the price of 2 meals at McDonald's. But yeah, this is a fascinating read. It's full of amazing insights, practical thoughts, all laid out in an incredibly straightforward way with musical details on every page, or musical examples on every page, demonstrating everything he talks about. And he goes in depth. There's sections on how to write for 2 clarinets, for 3 clarinets, for 4 French horns and 3 trombones. He even recommends different ways to spend your budget on a string orchestra if you're recording in the studio. Different recommended splits. If you're working on a budget. This, of course, assumes that the bassist is part of the rhythm section, because a lot of what he talks about is writing for studio orchestra, which at the time was jazz band plus, I think, horns and strings. And Riddle was a master at this. He did it all the time. You know, the forward or the back here mentions that he stands at the, or according to the person who wrote the back, he stands at the spine of American popular music. And you can tell. The book's a masterpiece. It's affordable, it's helpful. Honestly, I think my writing jumped up 2 or 3 levels just by reading this. So, would I recommend this book? Absolutely. If you've got $30 to spare, this will be an investment. This is full of amazing practical knowledge. You could read this 4 or 5 times and still learn something new every time. It's a masterpiece. I don't know what else to say. So I'll let it speak for itself. I've put links to Amazon and Alfred Music in the description. No affiliate links or anything. This is my first YouTube video. What do you expect? But yeah, as they say in the YouTube community, subscribe, like this. Honestly, if you're interested in commenting, I'd love to hear your opinion on the book. If you've read it, if you're considering buying it, that would I'd love to hear about that. And if you've got questions, feel free to leave them down there. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm no doctorate in music yet, but I'll do my best to help out. So yeah, thanks. I'll see you next time.